Today's webinar is Getting Familiar with ShareFile's eSignature. We're going to take a look at the new signer experience, which has been rolling out for customers, and some customers will be getting this in the next couple weeks. We'll go through a few slides really highlighting the differences between kind of the older signing experience and what's coming or what you may already have. And then we'll go through some of just the eSignature basics. We'll look at providing user access for those administrators who need to give their employees access to send signatures. We'll go and actually upload a document. We'll add some fillable fields, and we'll look at the options for actually sending and then saving back to ShareFile. We'll look at managing signatures, so we'll kind of walk through the signatures dashboard. We'll show you how to look at your current in-progress signature requests, maybe making some revisions to them or voiding them out. And then we'll go through building a document template that you can use for sending out the same document and saves you time. So at the end here, we'll walk through the actual new signer experience and kind of show you how it looks and feels.
So first off, we just want to touch on what the current signer experience is and some of the problems that have come about over the years from that. It currently works fine, but there's still some areas of improvement. Three of the big ones here are when you're signing the documents, you have to turn your device horizontally to complete that process, which is not ideal. But we also only allow typed or drawn options. So you either have to use your keyboard and put it in, and then it uses a specific font to make it look like a signature, or you have to manually use your finger and draw it out, or your mouse if you're on a computer. But like uploading a picture of your signature is not a supported option currently. And while it does meet many of the accessibility standards, it doesn't align with best-in-class practices. So with the new signer experience, it's going to be a much more intuitive and accessible signing journey. The signer experience has just been redesigned with more clarity and ease. It works beautifully across all devices, and you don't have to rotate your screen anymore. You can sign from a vertical position. We also now allow the uploading of a signature, so you can get that much more accurate paper-style signature and just upload it as a image into the signature field. It gives you a much more professional option there. And we've also improved alignment with accessibility standards to just give a more inclusive experience overall. All right, so the first thing you want to do is when using our eSignatures product is you'll want to be able to give your users the ability to use that function. As you can see here over on the left, we have our signatures button until you have the permissions for that, and that won't show up. So what you'll need to do is you'll go to People, browse Employees, and then you'll find your employees. So we're just going to use John here. And then you'll have their information, and then down below, you'll have their user access setting. So under user access, you'll see all the permissions they can have on the account. And then you'll see this section with 3 options for eSignature. The big one to use eSignature is going to be this first one, send documents for eSignature. If you give that to an employee user, they will then be able to go in, upload documents, send them for signature. So that's the most basic option. These other 2 options are going to be more for admin related use. View all eSignature documents will give a user the ability to see all the documents on the account, and Greg will show us how to do that in a little bit. And then the other one is going to be the manage the eSignature templates. So that is going to be able to go in and then create and modify those templates across the whole account for use. So once a user has that first one, they'll have the ability to use eSignature, and then these other 2 are going to be more admin-related permissions. The other way, this is for adding it to an existing user. If you're creating a new user under the user access settings, you'll have the same options here to select those. All right, so we'll go ahead and hand it over to Greg to continue our demo here.
I'll go through. What we're going to do here is we're going to take a look at sending a basic signature request out. I'll show you kind of the ways to the different options you have for actually initiating a signature request. We'll build out the document, send it to Cord, and we'll take a look at the dashboard and see how you can manage those signatures. So I'm logged into my ShareFile account here. I have all the permissions like Cord just showed. So now you do have a few options to actually initiate a document for electronic signature. If you're utilizing our ShareFile for Windows application or ShareFile for Mac application, I'll go ahead and pull mine up here. If I'm in my ShareFile folders, I can simply go to one of my folders that I want to send a document for signature from. For instance, I'll go into a project proposal template I have. When you right click using one of our desktop tools, you'll have a context menu specifically for ShareFile. You will have an option for send for signature. Essentially, this is going to open up in your default browser in your ShareFile web UI to start that signature process. Similar to that, you can send a document for signature directly through one of your folders, whether it be your personal folder or if you have a shared folder that you want to send something out from. So if I were to go into that same folder I was just in on my desktop tool, if I wanted to send, let's say, an invoice template out, I can either check the box, use the option for send for signature, or alternatively, if I'm within that document, maybe I'm doing some modifications to it, I have the ability under More to initiate that signature process. So either way, you do it, it's going to bring you to the same place. Just wanted to highlight the different options you have there for actually kicking things off. So for today's demonstration, we'll go directly into our signatures tab. And here we are on our signature request dashboard, which we'll kind of go into more detail in just a little bit. To initiate a signature request, we'll go up to the button at the top right. You have three options here. So starting from the bottom is going to be sign yourself. That's simply if you have a document that only you are the signer of and you want to quickly add your signature, generate the signature certificate, and complete the document, that option is there for you. Bulk send is going to be for single signer documents that you need to send to many people. So this might be a list, upwards up to 300 users you can send a document for. All of them are separate signature requests that you're sending to those individual users. There are a couple caveats to that, which I'll highlight here in just a moment. And then you have the option to just start a signature request with the top button. So we'll go ahead and start a signature request. We're brought to the document section to select a file. So you have some options here for actually adding a file to the signature flow. You can browse your files like we did before, going through our shared or personal folders. This will bring up your folder explorer, showing you the folders that you have access to. You can also upload directly from your local machine. We also support the ability to drag and drop. So if you do have your File Explorer open right next to your browser, you can simply drag into this highlighted box here, and it will upload automatically. And then we also have use a template. So templates, which I'll show it a little bit later, those are document templates. If you have, let's say, an NDA that you're constantly sending out to users and nothing changes with it, it's just going to speed up how you get those documents out. So you can use a template to initiate a signature request. So we'll go ahead and let me upload a file here from my computer. I've got a sample document here. It's a commercial real estate license application file. So while that uploads here, I'll go ahead and go through some of the other options here. So you do have the ability, if you are the only signer, this kind of kicks off that initial I'm the only single signer like we showed before. That option is there. It's going to be only you that's signing the document. Here's that send in bulk option here. So hovering over this, it is grayed out. A bulk send can only be used with a single signer template that was created on our right signature side. So we're in the process of building out this ShareFile native signature flow like you're looking at here. We're building that out to be feature parity with the older right signature interface. So right now the bulk send, if you want to send one signer documents to multiple users. That template has to be developed and built out in the right signature side. And then it can be selected here to send to multiple users. So I'll just show you this real quick. I'll use a template. I'll select from right signature up at the top here. And I do have a single signer broker contract here, and it was built on the right signature side. So now you can see this option here for send in bulk. Now, when I click that item, that button there, I get a downloadable CSV template, and that's basically for you to fill out all the users that need to receive this signature request, and it cannot exceed 300. Once you have that file filled out, bring that CSV back here. You can browse your local machine, drag and drop, and that will build out the recipient list. So just wanted to kind of mention that it still needs to be built in the right signature side. So let me bring that other file back in that we were working on. And now, who are the recipients? This is going to be internal employee users that need to sign the document. Maybe it's some external clients that have already been set up and registered in your system, or this can just be a new user that isn't in ShareFile that you just need to get a document signed. So we'll go ahead and put in Cord here. We'll put his email in. And now we are setting him as a signer. You do have the ability to change the role. So if you wanted to have somebody be able to access this document, access the completed document, you can set them as a viewer, and they won't be required to sign anything. For today's demo, we're going to keep Cord as a signer. We also have a set signing order. So let me go ahead and add another recipient, and I'll kind of show you how that works. So the next person we'll do is I have an outside vendor, and we'll also keep that user as a signer so I can show you something on the next step. So signing order, if you do want to enable it, this essentially gives you a little a 6-dot icon here. This will allow you to drag and drop the actual signing order of this document request or the signature request. So in this particular setup, my outside vendor will receive a notification first to sign the document. Once that's completed, Cord will get the notification to sign the document as well. So we'll go ahead and keep Cord first. And if everything looks good here, we can move on to the next step. So the next step is going to bring us into the actual document editor. This will allow us to place fields, text fields, drop-down, checkbox, signature fields onto the document before we actually send it out. And we'll just keep this to we'll keep it the same. So we'll say, Greg, this is the outside vendor. Both signers, Cord first, me second. Okay, there we go. So the next step here is going to be where we actually fill out the document with the fields that we need to get signed off on or filled in. So on the left-hand side at the top, there's going to be a signers dropdown. So we do have multiple signers on the document. So this will color code each fillable field to that particular signer. They will only be responsible for what we set up with using these options. U, which is the now, this is if you want to annotate the document, if you want to have some fields that are pre-filled out, or maybe you want your signature to be already on the document, switching to U will give you the ability to add your signature, add text, or add some checkmarks to the document. So we'll go ahead and we'll place a variety of different fields here. We'll kind of look to see, look at your options to manage each one of those. So what we'll do first is we'll go through, since the first line is a checkbox, we'll go ahead and add a checkbox group. And when you place a checkbox group here, you can see on the right-hand side that this page has changed. So whichever element of the document that you're placing, there will be specific settings that you can configure with that particular element. So in this case, this is a checkbox group. Both of these check marks here, I can move to their respective locations. If I wanted to add a checkbox on the right hand, I have add checkbox. I can simply add, move it around. I can use the plus. And if I need to remove checkboxes, I can simply use the X on that menu here to remove them. You're going to have some other options as well. You have some group rules here where you can select one or more options or select only one. everything that you place on the page will have a requirement or not. So if there's something like a signature that's going to be required, or maybe you want some other options to be required before they can complete the document, that option is going to be there. Clear background, a few of the elements will have clear background. That just essentially means, do you want the background of that box to be transparent or not? And then you can name the group for easier tracking. If you want to remove the checkbox altogether, or the checkbox group altogether, you can use this option here. So we've put in a checkbox group. Let's put a couple more things in here. So let's put a text box here. And we have here that we can allow multiple lines if we wanted to give the signer more room to type out something. You can add default text. So if I wanted this to say license number, that will show up before they start typing, and then text align as well. So let's go ahead and put a couple more things in here for Cord to fill out. We'll put a first name. We'll put a middle name. We'll resize that. Then we'll add a last name. The other thing I want to throw in here for him to fill out is initial, maybe at the top of this page. And then we have a signature field here. So we'll go ahead and put the signature here, and we'll put a date field. And the one nice thing about the date field is that you can either have it user entered, or you can autofill the date signed. So when they open up that document to sign, to add their signature, that date will be pre-populated when they sign it. All right. Also add a signature for the secondary user. Just add it here. And we'll add a date and we'll autofill it. So once you have the document set up the way that you want, we'll go ahead and say next step. And this is going to be where we change the name of the document and where it's saved. So you can change the document name here, where you'd like to store the signed document. So I mentioned earlier that you could start a document signature from a folder. So when you select that option, the nice thing that a lot of our users take advantage of is when you send a document from a folder, by default, it's going to go right back to that folder that you send it from. So if you have some client folders, some external clients you're working with, and you start a signature request, by default, it's going to go right back to that folder where you initiated the request from. But you can also always change that, and you'll have the option to select any folder that you have access to on the ShareFile account. So we'll just keep it in my personal folders here. It goes through and shows the recipients that are going to receive this ShareFile document signature request. You can put a note to all the signers, so this will show up in not only the email notification that they get, but also which Cord will show in a little bit. This will put a message pop up before they actually sign the document. Expiration is going to be the number of days that the recipients have before they can no longer access the document to sign it. Security options, passcode, if you have documents that you need a signature on that have maybe personal information on there that you want to safeguard a little bit more, a passcode can be set up. It's a 5-digit passcode that you can either send out later in a separate email or maybe over the phone if you want to be more secure. That option is there for you. We do have a third-party KBA system that can be used to verify a user's identity. And this is something you may be familiar with already if you've logged in to sign a document and there's some general questions. Maybe one is, what county did you live in 2005? Just these are public knowledge, and those are there to safeguard the document request. Default settings here, if we bring this up, one thing to note that any changes that you make to the default settings here, it says at the top, will be applied to all in-progress signature requests and those going forward unless it's changed. So these are things like daily reminders. You can set this to weekly or never notify the users at all. And we'll show you how to manually do a notification as well. So these options are here for you to modify. The one thing with the new signer experience that Cord mentioned is that we do allow uploaded signatures now. So if you give that option here, it will be available to your signers when they go to actually sign off on a document. We do have also the blue ink for all signatures to help distinguish signed originals from photocopies. And then the signer permissions, this allows signers to download the original document before they even sign it and complete the document. Completed documents will always, depending on your settings, be attached to the email or available to download or view once the document is completed. So once those are saved here and everything looks good, we'll go ahead and send this off. And now we're brought to the view page. Here we're going to get all the details around who the signers are, when the due date is, who sent it, and it'll give us a reference ID in case you ever need to contact technical support. This is going to be the identifying number for this particular document. Like I mentioned before, there's going to be some in-progress things that you can do. If you wanted to make revisions to this, you have the option to revise it. It'll essentially put the document on pause, and the recipient will not be able to sign it until the revisions are complete. You can also download and void. Void will completely remove the signer from being able to sign it or access the document. If you wanted to change the recipients, you can change that here using the edit, and that'll bring you through that document process that we just went through. And then you also have the ability to remind. So if you don't have automatic reminders set, I can come in here and send Cord a reminder. That's essentially going to send him an email saying, hey, you have a signature request that's pending, and it'll give him the link to sign it. Activity tab. This is going to be where anything that happens to the document. So if Cord accesses the document, he opens it, he signs it, everything is going to be logged here, and it'll also show on the completed document certificate that's attached once the signature request is complete. All right, so now that we've sent that out, we'll give Cord a little bit to make sure he gets that, and then we'll walk through signing it in a little bit. So going back to the dashboard, wanted to just touch on how you can manage all of your signature requests. So this is going to be the default view here. It's going to show everything. So if you are an admin and you've been given that permission that Cord showed earlier to view all documents, you can switch to admin view, and now you'll be able to see all the signature requests that have been sent out from all users on the account. If I want to filter these, I do have some options here. I can just see in progress documents by using this option. If I wanted to add maybe the voided, I can select whichever options here I want to filter this view by. You can also search. So if you have if you have a naming convention that you're using for all the documents that you're sending out, maybe you search by client name or something, you can use this search box here to search for through all of your document signature requests. So if I were to say W4 here, that pulls up just the W4 documents that I've sent. All right. And then the next thing I wanted to touch on today is building templates. So we talked about templates. It was an option when you're actually sending a document for signature. You can use a template. I wanted to show you how you can quickly make a template for your users on your account to quickly send out documents for signature. So we'll go into the template section on the left-hand side. And what we're going to build today is just a very simple NDA document template. So you can see you're presented with all your templates here. We want to go to the right-hand side and we want to create a document template. And so this is going to look similar to the other flow that we went through for building a signature request form, but we'll go ahead and go through it and we'll add a couple extra things here. So we'll pull in my basic NDA. And the options you have here are signer roles. So these are going to be what users are going to be required to sign this document. So you can have one one signer, you can have multiple signers. So for this particular document, for an NDA, I'm going to do a disclosing party. And I'm going to have a receiving party. And you can also change their sequence here. We will keep it as disclosing and then receiving. You can add additional roles. And the other cool thing that you can do here is you can actually use variables. So variables are going to be like merge fields that you can bring in data from, let's say, employees on your ShareFile account, your client users, to fill in a document with their information such as name, company, basic information, or if you have any third-party integrations added, you can pull data from that to populate documents automatically. So we'll go ahead and we'll add one here. I only have ShareFile as a data source right now. We'll go ahead and since this is going to be for our client users, this is going to be an NDA for external users, we'll go ahead and make the source client. And then we'll call this variable basic info. So when we hit next, we'll be brought to the document generator. This is going to be very similar to the process we went through before, but it's going to have a little extra here for those fillable fields. So what we'll do is we'll add some information for the receiving party to fill out. Now what we want to do is we want to pre-populate this top portion. So let's go to the bottom here and we'll add a signature and we'll add a date. And now what we can do here is we can go to the next option underneath the signer filled fields. It's going to be for system filled fields. So what we'll do is at the top, we're going to use that variable that we brought in from the ShareFile client information. And now we have the ability to bring in first name, email, last name, or company. So let's go ahead and bring in their first name. And we'll fit that in here. And we'll bring in the company. All right. And you also have the ability to annotate the document. So if I wanted to put information on here that's pre-filled, I can do that here. But what I really wanted to highlight was these fillable fields here. So now once we have those variables in here and we have the signature at the bottom. Okay, so I'm getting ahead of myself. So these fillable fields, this is just for the template. Once we go through and actually send this document, that's where we'll fill these fields. So we're good. We're good. Let's keep going. Let's call this an NDA document. You can give it a description. You can enable some of the security options like we talked about earlier, KBA or passcode, and we'll go ahead and save this template. So now that we have this template here, we have some options. We can go ahead and send that off for a signature request. We can edit it. We can also share it. So I wanted to highlight this. So when you create a document template, you're the only person that has access to that, unless you have another administrator that's accessing the templates. So what you can do is you can send this document template to particular users on the account, and you can set their permission set individually. So I have somebody on my account here, Louis. I want to give him permissions. So we do have some pre-built permission sets, viewer, contributor, and creator. If you're unsure of what those mean, you can click the view button to give you exactly what permissions they'll have. That is from modifying the template to actually sharing it out themselves. If you wanted to give custom permissions here, this will allow you to set that up the way that fits your needs. So we'll give him viewer, and we'll say this is for the NDA template, and then we'll share that off. So if we want to go ahead and use this template, we could use it from the process we went through before, where we're doing a new document signature request, and we say from template. You can also do it from your template section here. So if I go and look for my document templates, here's our NDA. And the piece that I wanted to show you was the merge field. So this is where if you want to pre-populate some information that we built out in that template, what we'll do is, let's say we want to send this document out to my outside vendor. This is going to bring in that basic info variable that we created for first name and company, and it's going to pre-populate it in that document before we send it out. So what does this do? Is it essentially helps you customize the document with pre-filled information that maybe you don't want the recipient to enter in themselves. So we're bringing in company and we're bringing in first name. When we update the fields here from that client account, it's going to populate those fields with exactly that information. So once we have that the fields populated, then we can generate document. And this is going to walk us through that same signature request process before. So you give it recipients, and then you'll save, you'll set where you want to save the document, and then you can send it out from there. So templates can be really powerful if you have those documents that you're sending out very frequently, and you want some pre-populated fields to be filled out with client or employee information. All right. So that covers sending out a basic document. We covered building a template and then navigating through your signature dashboard. So what we'll do is we'll have Cord bring up the signature requests that I sent to him, and we'll take a look at how the new signer experience looks.
So here we have the email that I got when Greg sent that document over. As we can see his account branding on it. We get a small preview of the document here and all the information. And then we can go ahead and click this review and sign document, and we get taken over to the document here. The first step your signers will see is going to be the acceptance of terms of use, privacy, and the eSign consent. So if they need to, they can click on these links to get those documents to see what those say. And then all they have to do is click continue here. So now we're presented with our field here. If we look on the right, we can see all the different things we have to fill out. So when you're creating the document, especially if you're doing a template, you might want to actually put names on these instead of just the generic text fields. And as we can see, the date has its checkbox or its check mark already here because Greg set that to autofill the date. So I don't have to put that specifically in. We can also see up here how many fields we have left. So we have that 1 of 8. We also have some options over here. So we have our help buttons for frequently asked questions. We also have some keyboard shortcuts if you need to access those. The other option here we have is the more actions. So you can do a save, your signers can do a save progress. So if they have a especially long document and they need to go look up some information, they can save that progress and not have to worry about having to fill everything in again. They'll also be able to download a copy of the original PDF if you left that option enabled. So they can get that, essentially the blank document that you uploaded without any of the signatures or anything on it. They can also decline the document if there's any information on it that is problematic or that needs to be redone, or they just don't want to sign anymore. And then we also have the ability to switch back to the old experience if necessary. So as we can see, we have our Start Signing button here. So if we go ahead, click on that, it's going to take us to our first field. So all we have to do is choose our options here. And then enter our information. And then again, we can click next, and it's going to take us down to that initials field. And then it's going to take us to our signature. So it already has a signature from me, but if I wanted, well, for the convenience here, but I can clear that out and I can go over here and do a draw, and I could draw my signature in, or because upload was an option, I could upload an image of my signature. I don't have an uploaded image there, so we'll just go with type. and hit add. As we can see, my signature is now there. There's our date field that Greg had set up as pre-included. And then next, okay. So we've done everything. So it's just going to loop through. Oh, nope, forgot the license number. All right. So now that we have everything completed, all we have to do now is click submit. Oh, actually, I wanted to show, we do have details here as well, so you can see information about the document as well. But yeah, we'll go ahead and click submit. And now the document has been fully submitted, and then I should get an email here. So as we can see, I have now received the I've completed it step. So Greg should, once Greg completes it, I think we'll also get another one to see the full document. But if we go back here, but yeah, as we can see, we come back in here, we can see that this document has been signed and all my fields from where I filled it out are put on there. And then I can see Greg is also signed and the document has been fully completed. So what we can do now is if we click download, we can either choose to get just the document itself, just the signature certificate, or the combined PDF, which is going to be both the completed document and the signature certificate. We can also, again, download that original PDF copy. But yeah, once it's signed at the very bottom here, you'll have the signature certificate. And that's going to have all the technical details and stuff for legal signing for eSign. And IPs, all that good stuff. So generally you want to include the signature certificate on any copies of that document just for legal verification if necessary.
We appreciate everyone joining today. We hope you found something or got something out of this webinar. We look forward to seeing you in another one down the road, and thanks again for joining us.